Drag racing fan, good to be back in studio. Good to be live once again here on Tuesday, and not a Tuesday night, a Tuesday afternoon with Between the Slicks. As you see, we're going to have Krista Baldwin on here shortly to chat with her, the only lady Top Fuel driver and owner in the NHRA. May very well be one of the only lady driver owners throughout the world of motorsports, especially at any professional rank out there. So looking forward to having her on. We've had Krista on the show before many moons ago. Looking forward to get an update from her on what is going on in her career as owner and driver and her campaign to get to the big go and go at the world's biggest and richest drag race, the U.S. Nationals. Want to say hello to the Competition Plus audience, as well as everyone watching on the Monday Morning Racer platforms on X, Facebook, and YouTube. Whatever you're watching from or on, hit that like button, hit the share button, and please chime in. We want to take your questions. We want to have that dialogue with you through the comment section. If I had a phone, I'd let you ring in and we'd take you on air, but haven't got that far. It's actually kind of complicated to do that with StreamYard and live, but glad we've got this avenue to have a live show such as Between the Slicks. We'll certainly, go over some drag racing news, a lot of great events this weekend in the drag racing world that we all can partake in. I'll be sharing with you later on where I'm going to be this weekend for a Night of Thunder and Fire type of event. A lot of that is happening in the drag racing world as we speak. It's that time of the year, and those events certainly are great. Blake, hello to you. Thank you for watching. Thank you for commenting. And folks, we've got her in the green room, and if Krista's ready, we'll go ahead and take a break and transition and get her on, the lady of the hour, and speak with her on all the things happening in her world, the world of drag racing. This word from Dove Fuels, and we'll transition to Krista Baldwin right here on Between the Slicks.
Fly right in your motorsports endeavors with products and services from Dove Fuels. Pete Dove is the owner of Dove Fuels. He is a racer himself in a nitromethane burning fuel altered dubbed Back from the Ashes. He races with Driven Racing Oils, which produces a 70 weight nitro oil, but that is not all they make. They make applications for you on the oval track, whether that's dirt or asphalt, and for even you, the bracket racer on the drag strip. And if you need nitromethane, Pete Dove at Dove Fuels is the one to call for a drum or even supplying for an entire series, as he is the official supplier of nitro for Nitro Chaos. If it's nitromethane or Driven Racing Oils, you need to contact Dove Fuels. Gentle name, Hardcore Products.
Krista, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Man, I am doing great. Just got in, didn't have any traffic issues in Atlanta. Thank God. That is a good day when you have no traffic issues through the middle of the day going through Atlanta. 285 was not Death Race 2000 as it usually is. So that is a plus for sure.
Definitely like going through Atlanta at like 2 a.m.
Yes. 2 a.m. You can go right downtown. There's no problems. Yep. And, for folks that don't know, 465 around Indy can get crazy. Nobody is going 55. That sign is ignored. That's the most ignored sign in America, maybe.
Yes. Believe me, it took me a second because I'm a SoCal babe. Like, this is what I'm SoCal, and speed is the name of the game. Moving here to Indiana a couple of years ago, definitely had to slow my roll.
Yes. Well, what I've experienced of LA traffic, it is interesting. It's definite rush hour. Like, there are defined times it is rush hour and you're not going nowhere. And the rest of the time it's really not that bad. But yeah. Rolling parking lot for sure. But let's not talk about traffic. Let's talk about what you got going on through the traffic of life, as you will, as being the only lady Top Fuel owner and driver in the NHRA. Got that distinction. I remember I walked up to you at Bristol and I was like, hey, when's your next race? And you're like, well, the next one as owner. I was like, oh, very interesting. Then your next one as driver. So back at the most recent national event, the Summit Racing Equipment Nationals, you were on the sidelines, but you're there. You got another guy in the car. How did it feel seeing your baby go out there and you're not in it?
It was definitely a surreal feeling, especially since I was the backup girl. Literally standing where Katie normally stands, like her looking at me in the car, and now it's me looking at Spencer in the car. I'm like, oh my God, is this what she sees all the time? It was definitely surreal, but it was super cool. I mean, Spencer has been my favorite driver since I was a kid. So it's just like absolutely awesome that, full circle that he got to drive my car. But yeah, this came about. We were in Chicago and Spencer was up there for the Don Schumacher Memorial, and he was hanging out. And I'm like, hey, look, I don't have Norwalk on my list. I'd like for the car to go. And he's like, okay. And so he piped right up and he wanted to drive it. And obviously he's had experience with this car. This is the car that Pat Aiken used to own. Spencer's driven it for the last 5 years. So he definitely knows what to do in this car. It was actually kind of there's multiple layers of this decision for me. One, obviously it's no joke. We have been struggling for the first half of the year, just new car blues. We had a front half done, changing how, like, putting my driving style in with the race car and just gelling as a group and as a crew. And we've had some issues. Let's just say that. And so I really wanted Spencer to come in and drive the car because I was having some issues driving the car, like physically driving the car. And I'm like, man, I just don't think this is right. And Spencer got in and he's like, yeah, there's something definitely off from last year in Dallas, which the last run that this car made last year was a 371 in Dallas. So this is like a competitive car. Like we should have like hit the ground running this year, but unfortunately we didn't. So it was fun. Sorry, these guys are making faces at me outside the window. It's distracting. So anyways, Spencer was able to get in. We were able to pinpoint what was wrong with the car. Actually, like we actually have a solution of why the car hasn't been getting down the track. It was something crazy within the front half that we just didn't know because this car is the first time it's been front half. And I am so excited now to hit the gas in this thing because we fixed the problem. I know I'm not crazy. I can drive this car. I know I can. And now I just got to wait a couple weeks until I go to Martin, Michigan for a match race. So, but it's been quite the whirlwind couple of months.
Well, I mean, and there you go. I mean, that's, having someone, perfect storm for you to get Spencer in the ride that he's so familiar with. And then Spencer just being as experienced as he is behind the wheel of a Top Fuel dragster to be able to go, hey, you're not crazy.
Exactly. And that's what
something not right.
Yes, something was not right. And it made me feel better as a driver. I'm not gonna lie, that I was thinking like, man, how am I not getting this right? How is it not meshing with me? And come to find out there was something wrong with the car. So super excited that we found it. We pinpointed it. And now we're gonna, like I said, go up to Martin, Michigan the first weekend of August for the Northern Nationals during the PDRA race and make a couple test laps. And then on Saturday night, see who can be the king or queen of the Northern Nationals.
Oh, really? Who is participating along with you in the match race? I'm going to be up there covering Extreme Top Fuel, so certainly looking forward to my first ever visit to Martin.
It's an awesome track. I mean, Jason does a wonderful job. The track prep is absolutely spot on. I've done it the last couple of years, and it's a good vibe up there, and the people love Top Fuel racing. So it's going to be myself and Larry Dixon and Sean Reed. And I believe there is one more spot that they're working on. I heard some rumblings of who it might be, but nothing's confirmed yet.
Okay, cool. Sean, Well, that's going to be a neat little show then, for sure.
Oh yeah, it's good. It's fun. I mean, last year, I believe, or the year before, me and Gary Pritchett were lined up next to each other, and I was actually Gary's first opponent in Top Fuel. So that was a cool, and there's a cool picture of me and Gary at the top end, like taking our helmets off, and we're sitting there talking and discussing it, and he was hyped on life, and obviously I'm always hyped on life after a Top Fuel run. So it was a cool moment to share with Gary.
You mentioning Gary, I really like what Gary's doing right now. Several championships, obviously, as a crew member with the Capco team, but he's been getting some more driving in, and I'm happy for him in that respect. Wins the big Funny Car Chaos event there at Maryland, and personally, my favorite top end videos thus far. He was bawling and crying. Biggest win of my life. So that was cool. He hops in, almost wins the regional race there at Indy in a Randy Meyer car. I mean, runner up to Tony Stewart. I mean, if you're going to take a runner up, that's not a bad runner up to take. So
yes.
He's been getting in. That's been cool to see for sure. With Spencer being in the car there at Norwalk, I'm sure that was a benefit to him. He can keep a license current. He can keep himself out there in the driver pool to hop in a ride and do whatever he might be able to for his career. Let's break down and backtrack a bit, though, from the canopy car to the open cockpit car, you purchasing the Pat Dakin ride. So folks are going to be familiar with you getting your license and willing this thing, as beautiful machine that it was, for a year or two. But why did you need to make the transition? What for you and your program was the catalyst, was the light bulb moment that we got to make a change?
Well, I believe so. The car that you're seeing right now, that's actually my grandpa's car. That's the car that he took his last ride in just about 4 years ago at the ripe age of 89. And so it was just time. I pushed that car to the limit. That car proved to me that it is a 385 car all day long. And to be honest, you have to go faster than 385 to be competitive in Top Fuel right now. I mean, I see myself doing this for a long, long time, and I just needed to make the purchase to be the catalyst to the next step of Top Fuel. And let me tell you that you might not think that like a tenth of a second is a big thing, but it's huge, especially in drag racing where we go down to, the thousandth of a second. But I knew that this opportunity came. It came with a full crew, truck, trailer, full operation. And I knew, obviously, I'm very close to all those guys that were on the CMF car. I knew that is where I wanted to be. I knew that is the vibe that I was going for. And I knew that is the car that was going to take me and propel me to the next step of my career.
So you make that purchase, and the car looks really good, by the way. And I love how you have kept some cheetah print. I love that.
Got to keep the cheetah print.
Right. Love that. It's up there at the front, up there on the back, and you're keeping your flair for sure. And you already are getting a bit of a motif with the blue visor too. You're like the only one rocking it. You can tell Krista's in the car with the blue visor. So keep it going. Where I'm curious, a lot of folks, I would say even our age, definitely younger, they hear Pat Dakin and they're like, and part-timer, show up every now and then with Spencer Massey, can crack a field. And they may not realize this man at one time, when he showed up into a field, he was a threat to win. Runner-up in world points at one time in his career, has been out there as long as drag racing has been around, it seems. Where was he to sell his operation? Honestly, when I heard the purchase, I was like, really? Pat sold his operation? I mean, did he run out of guns, money, and lawyers, or what?
Definitely not. No, they're still there. Don't worry. No, I think it was just time. I think like I said, the opportunity presented itself over the winter. I was trying to make a change, and Pat knew I was trying to make a change. And I'm not going to lie, I made an offer that I wanted to buy it, and he said yes.
All right, man, that's cool. That's cool to hear that and see that. Very cool. that is the case. So, working through the bugs of this year with the game that has changed, and it has changed. I know just when I started intently covering the sport 5 years ago, you can't qualify anymore with what you were able to. For example, I think of with Strutmaster's sponsorship, Terry Totten. Terry Totten at one time could have a 390 car and qualify and make a field. There's no hope of that now. It is gone.
Yes.
You've got someone like Josh Hart missing out, even doing a 380. You've got I remember Doug Foley, Chicago misses the field, though that car is running well. It is absolutely insane how competitive it is. So I'm curious, have you upped your heartburn medicine from your doctor at this point? Or, what's that? Are you looking for a TUM sponsorship? I mean, how
I definitely have lost some sleep. That's for sure. No, but that's like two-sided, right? Obviously, as a team owner, trying to crack this field, trying to do what I can do for the sport of drag racing, it is tough. Like, you have to have your thick skin on, and you're gonna sit there and fight with the best of the best. And obviously now there's more part-time teams that are just flying. Like, I mean, look at Trip Tatum's car and Scott Palmer's car, and all these cars literally can show up and they can boom run a 370 like it's nothing. Obviously it's not nothing, it's a lot of work, but that is the dedication of work that we have to go to now, and that's where we need to put ourselves. And it is so freaking hard, I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, this last weekend in Norwalk, I mean, we ran a 380 with a 7 and 380 with a 1 was the bump spot. And then Doug Foley was in the middle of us with a 380 with a 5. I mean, we're running, literally, we're like split second from a 370 run, and we can't even make the show in Norwalk, Ohio. And it is hard. I'm not going to lie. I knew that Top Fuel was going to be hard. Not saying that it's not, but I didn't know it was going to be this hard, because I grew up in the era where my grandpa could go out there and he could run a 395 to a 405 and qualify and be good and content and get the qualifying money. But now it's like 375 or nothing. You might as well just stay home.
Absolutely. It is wild how much the game has changed. I think last year had a conversation with Doug Foley, and it's like, dude, last year you would have qualified top half. This year you barely made the field, and that has jumped up that much more in another year. You see a field like Kyle Wurtzel, TJ Zizzo, Doug Foley, yourself, and a couple other cars sprinkled in there, and it's just like, you don't know. I mean, and full timers are not exempt. I mean, Brittany Force, Chicago.
Yeah. Brittany in Chicago, Josh in Norwalk. I mean, it is so cutthroat right now. But also on the flip side of this, as a fan, as a diehard NHRA Top Fuel drag racing fan, this is awesome. It is so much fun to watch. It is like, what's going to happen next? Every round counts. Every single second you have on that racetrack absolutely counts. You have to be perfect at what you do, at your craft, getting that car down the racetrack, keeping it in the groove, making sure that you leave on time. Like, it is so much more crucial right now than it has ever been. And so on that side, I'm like super excited that I get to be part of this era of Top Fuel and get to propel not only myself, but the whole class into, look at how hard it is to do right now. Right. But the team owner of me is like, it's too hard.
Yeah, how do you feel and for the most part, it looks like in a lot of ways in your career you've been owner driver for the most part, but how do you separate driver from owner, and then when do those moments merge, and what wins out over driver or owner more often?
I would say the owner part of me wins out most of the time, except for on my 375 run in Phoenix. I hit the gas and I knew it was going fast, but not quite fast enough as 375. And then that clutch came in and the car is rocking down the racetrack. And at 800 feet, the car starts chucking me. Like there's something wrong. And I'm like, oh, but I knew I was going on the 370 run. So I legged it to the to the finish line. And I did accidentally had a rod and piston escape the the block, but I also ran 375. So that was a hard part too, is like, okay, so I know that there's something wrong with the motor, but I only have 200 more feet to go. It's already broken, whatever it is, because I can feel it, but can I make it? And so that I was a little selfish as a driver on that run. But I got
either way, you're gonna make the highlight reel, right? No.
Yeah, exactly. And so, but on that run, I got to accomplish like my goal of the last 4 years of me driving Top Fuel of what I wanted to do. So that was really, really cool to do. But most of the time, the owner in me definitely kicks in, especially if I have to pedal the car or make a correction or whatever it is. I try to make the decision that, nope, there's another race. I got to keep the parts that I have. I'm not fully funded like a lot of these cars or a lot of these guys out here are. So I need to be cautious of what I do. But there are some moments where I'm like, I should have left, or I should have kept going, or I should have done this. But I only have a few. I mean, really, I probably only have 60 to 70 runs in a Top Fuel car in my career, which is nothing compared to all these other people. So I'm still learning. Every lap is still different, especially in this car. I'm still learning just how to talk to her and how to make her go fast, and just trying to put my vibe with her vibe and try and get down the track.
You know, let's see, over your career now in Top Fuel, if my number is correct, you've been in 3 cars. You've got the Canopy car, you've got Scott Palmer's car, and now the former Dakin car, your hot rod. And is it not strange how different cars can be from car to car? Is that not wild?
Yes. And in fact, I mean, in theory, it's all the same car. It's literally same technology, same wheelbase, a lot of things are the same, except for every car has its own personality. And so when I hopped into that Scott Palmer car, I had no clue what I was getting into. Honestly, I knew that was a good run or a good race car to make try and make my first 370. But when I got in it, first lap, I just had to learn where everything was and make sure I was cool with it, make sure the car was cool. And then we go into the second lap, which was Dallas Friday night, which this is the run, right? This is the hero run. Like, this is where I'm going to make my 370. Hit the gas. Everything seemed fine. Just about 300 feet when the clutch was coming in, I felt this rattle. And I couldn't decipher. I'm like, okay, is it just locking up the clutch and this is what the car does in that reaction? Or is there something wrong? So the owner in me, even though it's not my car, the owner in me stepped off, and I got out the top end. I told Scott, I'm like, hey, this is what was happening. This is what I felt. I wasn't sure, so I shut the car off. And he's like, oh, no, you did the right thing. But that's what this car does when the clutch comes in. It's like, okay, all right. So now you got to like keep repeating to yourself, like, okay, when I feel this shudder, it's fine because I'm at the part where the clutch is coming in. And then Q3, something went, or we ran like a 385, I think, for Q3. And then Q4, this is it. Last chance. We're outside of the field. There's like 25 cars in Dallas, which is absolutely insane. I go and I hit the gas, and it went so fast, too fast, where I'm like, nope, something's not right. Like, I'm not right with it, or the car's not right, or something like that. So obviously I shut it off just past 60 feet, idle it down there. And, obviously I don't have a radio, so I have no clue what's happening. And I'm thinking to myself, like, man, I should have really kept my foot in it. Like, what was I doing? Super bummed, right? Like, just, I could have gotten into this field. I get out the top end, and Katie Butera comes running up. You went 832, 60 feet. I'm like, what? Which was the fastest I've ever gone to 60 feet until that point. And I think me and Katie were more excited about 60 feet than 1,000 feet in the whole pit. And but every car, I mean, when you go and drive Scott Palmer's car, it's going to be a good time because he's the people's champion. And I've watched Scott Palmer's all my life, and he's been such an inspiration of like what you need to do, the attitude you need to have, you know, run what you brung. You're here with the big guys, but you know, you still got to be hospitable and hang out with your friends. Like if you're not having fun, then you should go home is what Scott Palmer is, right? And so just the experience like that and to be part of Scott Palmer, like that was like a super, super cool moment. And then you shift into this new car, this Pat Dakin car, and it's like, okay, go out for I think Pomona was our first race. Okay, we're just gonna be cool. We're gonna go through the staging procedure. We're gonna like just like nothing has happened, right? Mind you, I haven't touched a top fuel car since October the following year or the previous year. This is now March, so it's been a couple months. Like just gotta get the jitters out, right? The second I hit the gas in this Pat Dakin car, oh my God. I'm like, this thing is smooth. It is cool. Like, I feel cool. This is where I need to be. And so when I ran that 375 in Phoenix, I knew I made the right choice. I knew this was the right choice for the next step in my career. And like I said, it's all part of the vibe. And the vibe is I got a great crew behind me and a great crew chief. And now I figured out what was wrong with the car, and now I'm just super excited for the next chapter of this year, which hopefully it will be much more exciting than the first half of the year.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, it's amazing from car to car. Dimensionally, they might all look the same and might just have a little
totally different
in there. It is amazing.
I mean, I've driven multiple A fuel cars, and every A fuel car I've driven was totally different. I went and drove Johnny Otten's car at the end of last year too.
Right.
Totally different A fuel car than I remember. And so it just, you know, you got to take a lap or two, get to know her, talk pretty to her, tell her she looks good. Like we're going to go fast and hopefully it works out.
All right. So at Norwalk, I'm on top of the media tower taking some snaps and I'm just seeing some folks I can capture. I'm going to bring up this photo. Let me get your thoughts on what is owner thinking in this moment. Like she's got the look of, okay, this is cool, but this is not as cool as me being on the other end, getting out of the car after a 300+ mile per hour run.
Oh my God. Let me tell you, it was hard. I'm not gonna lie. Like it was really hard. Not that I didn't trust Spencer or anything like that. It was just that face is, why haven't we figured out what was wrong with the car? Why haven't we figured out why this car is not going down the track? What am I going to do next? What is my next step after this? And believe me, and plus it's hard to watch, you know, all of your friends and family and fellow drivers go down the track and you're standing on the starting line. Like it was hard. I'm not going to lie, but I still had a great time. But the team owner and me, there was a few pictures that Sadie Glenn took of me that everyone's like, what are you doing with your face? And I'm like, I don't know. I had so many different emotions happening when he hit the gas for the first time. I'm like, 1, I was nervous. 2, I was anxious. 3, I was like, is he going to find the problem that I was having driving the car? 4, my favorite race car driver of all time is driving my car. 5, is everything right? Did I put them right? Did I do the backup right? Because mind you, I haven't been a backup girl in quite some time. And so like it just, all of these emotions are going through and it's like, do you think you saw a hole out on one side? No, you didn't. Like it just, so much stuff happens within 3 seconds. Like I can go on and talk about driving the car in 3.7 seconds for 20 minutes. I could probably do the same thing watching my car go down the racetrack in 3.8 seconds. It was just so cool and it was so much fun. I'm not gonna lie, it was an experience that I will never forget. And obviously, hopefully I get to experience it again because I want Spencer to keep driving my car. Like it's pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie. Like I say it's pretty baller that I am owning this and he's driving my car.
It's very cool. The Not Bland Show wants to know, do you prefer to have a radio or no radio? And may I interject, I prefer that you all as drivers have no stinking radio. I love the moment, especially someone who doesn't know they've won, and I'm getting this with chaos, go to the top end and, you know, time, mile per hour. And by the way, you turn the wind light on. It's so much more organic.
So I've actually never driven with a radio.
Oh.
I've never been in a car where I've had a radio in it. So I guess I'm no radio.
Okay.
And so that's why I also feel like, because I get so many compliments on my top end reaction of like what was happening, or I just made this run or whatever it may be. And that's like legit how I feel, because I have absolutely no clue. Mind you, from the second I pull the parachutes to when I turn off at the top end, it's probably like 15, 20 seconds.
Right.
And in that 15 to 20 seconds, I just get to sit with the feeling of like, what do you think I just did? What was that? Did I put the wind light on, or whatever it may be? So I really, really love that part of driving, and that comes with no radio.
Yes, I really, you look at some of the great moments, for example, Steve Evans, that he has, that we think of with him interacting with drivers. If they had radios back then, you wouldn't have those moments. I really feel like, and you've been on national television, so tell me, I really feel like going to the Camping World bubble, or now the Mission Foods bubble, and standing on the dock, that is a very unorganic and strange situation. You all are used to being on camera, but I feel like there's an element of, again, not being organic that is not there just by getting you almost like right out of the gear.
And standing on that dot is very intimidating. I'm not going to lie. I mean, you literally are puffing and puffing like you just ran a 5K, and they want you to look presentable and not sweaty, and your hair has to be perfect, and make sure the hat's on right, and make sure your fire suit is like all nice and tidy to get this interview. So it took me a few times to reel in a couple of my emotions. So I'm not like screaming at the TV. But that's just part of the thrill, because like you don't know what they're going to ask you. You are trying to just decipher what you just went through. Like your body just went 330 miles an hour in 3 seconds, and you hit all these G's more than the astronauts hit going in outer space. And then you have to compose yourself and get that interview out. It's another part of the journey that is like thrilling to an extent.
Right. For us that are not in it, initiated, like the only thing I could connect it to is if you have a close moment on the highway and you get all jittery, you don't even want to talk right away most of the time. It's like, oh, let me compose myself. I about had a wreck. And I imagine 330 plus miles per hour it's like that. It's like, okay, I need, where am I thinking? Where am I going? What did just happen?
Yeah. No, and it's funny. And then you start rambling off something and you're like, what did they ask? Am I answering their question? I don't even know. Was I even listening? I don't know.
Right. Full John Force dive at that point. And just go wherever. Very cool. Well, look, we love your energy, and you keep displaying that. I hope they keep getting more and more of it raw, unbottled, and unfiltered, because I think that's what the sport needs, especially at the top end, and it be more organic, and that be on display for you all drivers, whether it's being for jubilation or sorrow, just all of it. I think. Because drag racing, we in drag racing have the unique opportunity in all of the world of motorsports. There's no cool down lap. Like you don't get to a stock car driver immediately. You don't get to a GT driver immediately. Just about immediately, you've got access to a drag racer. So yeah. Okay, cool. All right. You got Martin, Michigan coming up. But there's a big campaign for you to make the big go.
Yes.
Let's break it down. To be there, 70th anniversary, U.S. Nationals, and obviously you want to be there. We all want you to be there. What is it going to take? And let's break down some of the programs that are going on. There's shirts, there's exercising somehow.
Yeah.
With food. I don't know how the exercising and food trucks are going to go hand in hand. And
It's
what's
gonna
first?
work. It's
Like,
gonna work.
are people going to eat first and then do burpees and like have actual burpees, or what's going to happen here? You know?
That part I don't know yet, but no. So I obviously I have really good friends. Let me just start with that. My friends are awesome, and it's cool that they are helping me achieve this goal. So this weekend, Saturday, July 13th, we have a burpees for burnouts competition, extravaganza activities, all kinds of stuff happening, right? It's gonna be at Hoosier Trainer, who's actually one of my marketing partners on the race car. Monica Durhammer has become an awesome friend, and she wants me there at the US Nationals. And so we were thinking of trying to make a community day of Brownsburg. We want to bring people out, have food trucks, silent auction, bounce houses, raffle prizes. There's going to be a cop car there and all kinds of cool stuff for all the kiddos to look at. And I'll have the Top Fuel car on display, and we're going to start it up and hit the gas. Like, we're just trying to pump up the big go. The US Nationals, our biggest race of all, just like the Indy 500, but just for the US Nationals. And so it's going to be super awesome. My friend Katie Butera with Apple Girl Art, she supplied a whole bunch of shirts that you can check out, and you can order online, and half the proceeds will go to getting me to the US Nationals. My goal is $10,000. That is what I was missing from my budget to make the US Nationals. And I am proud to say that we are about $7,000 right now. So we are super close to hitting that goal. And it's going to be a fun community day. I definitely wanted the kids to come out and check out this machine that propels me to go 330 miles an hour. And it's going to be super fun. And people think I'm crazy for trying to do this, but so far it's working. In the town of Brownsburg, they have been awesome to work with. And we've been pushing it through the Brownsburg Chamber of Commerce, and we're including other local businesses and all kinds of stuff. So we still have room in our budget to get some more funding, but it's it's definitely been a process, and I'm super excited for this event to kick off, our lead up to the US Nationals.
All right, so let's very quickly, because I know my girlfriend, she wants Live Fast Pet Dogs t-shirts.
Yes.
So where can we go to get t-shirts? Let's be clear on that.
You can go to applegirlart.com to get the t-shirts.
Cool. Katie, you're watching. If you're still watching, put a link in to your place so folks can go from here to there and get t-shirts like I now need to, and go get t-shirts for myself and the girlfriend. And look, I'll buy some extras and we'll give them away on the show here too to help you out to try to get there to the U.S. Nationals. I can't be up there around Indy to support what you got going on this weekend, but if anyone, you want to drive and see and experience burnout and burpees, right? Yeah, or burpees and burnout. Yeah,
burpees and burnouts.
Okay, yeah, okay, cool. Go experience that. That's going to be great, or mildly disgusting, depending on what order it happens.
It's gonna be great. Don't worry, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be a good time.
Look, I'm excited to hear that you've got the town of Brownsburg like participating and backing. That is cool. I always have felt, I mean, again, I don't know. Drag racing, the hub is Brownsburg, just outside of Indianapolis. And I always wondered, like, is the town really supportive, or are they just kind of like, oh, it's okay, it's cool? But I've seen them post about the new tower and the amenities happening at the track and what the plans are. And now you saying that they're cooperating with what you've got going on. That is so good to hear that a community tie has been built and is growing.
Oh, absolutely. Brownsburg is all about drag racing. You go up and down Northfield Drive, obviously you see all the drag racers here. But no, they've been awesome to work with. I think what it is that, explaining my story and explaining who I am and what I do for the sport, a lot more businesses had no clue that they can be part of NHRA drag racing at this level. And so I'm creating an opportunity for them to come in and be able to, put their name on the hero card or on the race car or whatever it may be for a small donation into the fund. And so I think just putting out what you can do has been very beneficial. And so it's been fun just talking to local businesses, and a lot of women-owned businesses are coming out to support me, which is awesome because obviously I own my own business too. And they just super excited to watch the Cheetah Machine go down the track at the U.S. Nationals Friday night.
I like it. I mean, look, it baffles me at times with as successful as women are in NHRA drag racing, from a Shirley to an Erica to a Leah to Ashley. I mean, you just keep naming and naming and naming. Like, why do we not see more female-oriented products in the sport, from whether it's cosmetics to, I don't know, heck, handbags, Louis Vuitton, vinyl wrap dragster. I don't know, whatever. It just, why? What are your thoughts? You're a lady.
Well, I think Catherine Legge in the Indy 500 with that Elf Cosmetics car definitely is starting to break the barrier. I think that, I mean, I went to the Indy 500 and it was a huge activation all throughout the whole race of, there's women walking around with Elf Cosmetics now, or with a Catherine shirt on, or whatever it may be. So I think her doing that is kind of breaking the barrier of, look, no, women's products are supposed to be in motorsports as well, because obviously we all know that it's a lot of guys in motorsports, but there's also a lot of women. And I know a lot of my friends are now using Elf Cosmetics because of Catherine and the exposure she got. And so I've been doing some digging on LinkedIn and trying my part, and, just using that platform as an example of, look, we can do this too on a totally different scale. And our women are winning in low qualifiers and whatever it may be. Like, we are, a fundamental part of NHRA drag racing, and some of those companies need to come on board.
They certainly do. I don't think they realize the part of the market that they're missing out on, women that love motorsports that definitely would use their products from, my goodness, why do we not have a yoga pants sponsor? There's not, how many women wear yoga pants at the track? My goodness. Just like black yoga pants. Like, we need a sponsor out there, official yoga pants of the NHRA. I don't think they realize the potential that is out there. Well, folks, as you can see, Katie Butera has chimed in, www.applegirlart.com. Go get those t-shirts this weekend. You can also hang out there in Brownsburg for a great cause, getting this young lady to the U.S. Nationals. Now, before I let you go, and thank you for your time, don't want to hold it that much longer. Look, you've been out here for a while in so many different roles. Obviously, owner, driver now, but you've worked behind the scenes in the media and still do in so many respects. I want to ask, with you being around so long, seeing so many different things, with some questions on integrity in media, especially with it coming to light with what's happened with John Force and his incident at Virginia. Well, frankly, what are some of the things that annoy you all as owners and drivers and people in the sport? And just like, when do media go too far? I look at some things with John, like I'll give you an example. If it is not sent to you by email or however, therefore it was not sent for you to post, and to go and take the image and then put it on your own outlet, I count that as electronic theft. You should have hit the share button, for example. So what are some things when, like, integrity and, like reach and a share for your content is very important, for example, with your brand. So what are some of your thoughts on, integrity with media?
Well, so I've been on both sides of this fence, obviously as the driver now, but I've also been on the, the Competition Plus side. Actually, I used to report for Bobby and so long ago, back in my college days. But look, I understand that everyone has the good intentions of, look, we want to share the good news that John was able to go have ice cream with Brittany today, and he's actually going home or closer to home, you know, taking a flight to go back home. Like, I understand that we want him, you know, we are excited to hear that he is doing okay and he's progressing, and, you know, he's going to be the force to be reckoned with again sometime soon. But on the flip side, it also, as someone who has been part of, you know, a few different incidents that have happened, not only with myself, but with a bunch of my friends, people are very nosy. They want to know, like, right now what is wrong. And I understand that to an extent, but you also have to remember, like, these are people, and like, these are people's lives, and we have to respect that to an extent, especially on social media. I mean, these keyboard warriors can be very, very harsh. Believe me, I got my fair share of hard things coming at me because I put Spencer in the car. But you kind of have to brush it off. But the integrity with the media, if it's not specifically for you, or you reached out to that driver or that team or that owner or whatever the subject may be, maybe don't post it. Obviously, like, you can be the different one is really what it is. Like, you don't have to be like these other people that are just going to take the photo and share it and put a caption on it. I mean, shoot, I even saw on my own Facebook a photo of John Forrest from a couple years ago when he had foot surgery, saying that he was alive and better and this and that. And I'm like, that's not even a picture of what's happening right now. So these people just want to have their moment in the spotlight, saying like they were the first to break it, which in reality, Brittany or Courtney or anyone from JFR should be the first to break it, not you. And that's another part too, because obviously I hear a lot of rumblings of what has happened, especially since, you know, my fiance works at JFR. I hear some things happen, and it's not my job to say anything. You know what I mean? Like, that's JFR's job. Like,
And we've had Krista freeze. It was such a bombshell moment talking about this particular matter. Oh, there we go. There we go.
Sorry.
She's back. No, you're good. You're good. You're good. So cool. Well, thank you for that side of it. I appreciate it. And yeah, it just fascinates me how some want to be the first so badly. So badly.
Yes, and sometimes it's not good to be the first.
No, I agree. I agree. And you know what? I'm like you. You know, I know. I know folks at JFR, obviously, and you know, I'm not texting them and saying, "Hey, you got any?" You know, they got enough weighing on them as it is anyway. Why add to it to know something that, you know, we'll know in time? And I'm so glad we're getting positive news. But I know we're highlighting John's incident, but I think it's a moment that just is showcasing it. We're talking not just John. It's, look, if it wasn't sent to you, don't post it. Hit the share button.
Yeah.
It's not that hard, okay?
Exactly.
You know, wasn't sent to you, you know, yes. Okay, cool. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Glad we got that cleared out of the way.
And a lot of people assume on the internet, and that's really, really tough. I mean, especially when I announced that I was putting someone in the car, I got a lot of assumptions of what was happening with me, why I wasn't driving, this and that. And I'm like, just wait. Like, I'm going to tell you.
Right.
Just give me a second.
Right. Oh, it is. You know, I love doing live shows. I do sometimes 3-4 in a week, and I love them. But it is fascinating at times what will roll through a comment section, and it's like, in the grand scheme of things, what does it matter?
Exactly.
You know, like you're gonna know about it in time. Let's wait. Mm-hmm. Let's all enjoy a surprise. Everybody remember what it feels like to have a surprise birthday party. It feels pretty good. Let's just wait.
Yes. Well, and the thing is too, like, one comment that is now engraved in my mind forever and ever, whenever I get back in this race car, is, "Oh, I'm glad she figured out that she can't drive this car. She's bringing in a professional." Oh man, I love the internet so much. Love it.
God, you gonna like tape that one out in Sharpie and on the panel somewhere? So,
Oh, it is in my brain forever now.
Really. I mean, wow. Here's an individual that has, let's see, in your career so far, you at least have one round win, if not two.
I have a couple. Yep, I have a couple.
Right.
And it's it
qualify, and to do that, you've got to qualify for the field.
Exactly. And that's the other part too, is I don't think people understand how hard it is to qualify right now. Your first round, awesome. But to actually qualify for the show, to be the top 16 in the country for that weekend, no matter what the weather conditions were, it's hard.
Right. I mean, I love drag racing fans, but we are at a point right now, and maybe it's just like this in almost any fan base, no matter what it is, stick and ball, NASCAR, or maybe really with NASCAR. Anyway, the NHRA drag racing fans, like, folks, don't you realize that on any given Sunday that NHRA Mission Foods drag racing is in competition, you have the 16 best top fuel dragsters in the world competing. I know Drag Illustrated, they posted recently that you had the Australian drag racers and their ETs were comparable to the ETs of those in the United States of America. And not take anything away from what they're doing down under. They have great drag racing there, but they were in completely different conditions compared to that particular race that those in America were racing in at that time. Okay. I mean, you haven't seen a low 360 there in Australia like we're going to see it here in the States, or you're not going to see it quite like that over in Europe. Now, granted, they're doing some great things on the tracks that they are racing on and having to deal with, but the premier level of the sport is, in fact, NHRA Mission Foods drag racing.
And I get to be a part of it, which is awesome.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Well, it's certainly no bull that you can drive, and we look forward to seeing you there at the U.S. Nationals competing and driving. And, hey, look forward to seeing you up there in Martin.
Yes, it's going to be super fun. Martin's always a good time. I'll definitely have a ton of parts and pictures and all kinds of stuff sale and T-shirts and old grandpa stuff. So if you guys want some memorabilia, be sure to come by the pit in Martin. We'll have a little stand set up for outside the pit. And obviously, those help me get to the U.S. Nationals too. So
Cool. Folks, get your T-shirts. Go to Brownsburg this weekend and help Krista get to the big go. Krista, thank you for your time.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
See you, Krista. Folks, that was Krista Baldwin. Good to have her on the show. Good to catch up on what is going on with her and her career. We're going to take a quick break. The show is presented by McKinney Corp. Commercial word from them, and then we'll dive into some drag racing news and catch you up on the content that you can see right here on the Monday Morning Racer platforms. This word from McKinney Corp.
McKinney Motorsports is your #1 source for all your chassis needs. McKinney Motorsports is the leading chassis parts supplier and fabricator in nitro drag racing. From custom tanks and fittings, full chassis builds, body mounts, steering components, fasteners, tabs, clamps, composite parts, and much more. Our household name in the racing world guarantees added performance on the track. Join our list of proven winners that spans over 50 years of racing experience.
Welcome back. Let's dive into some drag racing news, in particular in drag racing on the Monday Morning Racer platform. Let me share with you what action you can see on the Monday Morning Racer YouTube channel from the most recent NHRA national event, Holly EFI Factory X. You can see the round by round action for these true factory hot rods. Yes, I said it, true factory hot rods in the NHRA from the Summit Racing Equipment Nationals there at Summit Motorsports Park on the Monday Morning Racer YouTube channel, and dropped out, I believe it was yesterday. You can now see top alcohol funny car action as well from the Summit Racing Equipment Nationals there in Norwalk, Ohio. Round by round action. And you don't just see the action on the Monday Morning Racer platform. You also hear from the drivers themselves. I am a firm believer that the stars are not the cars. The stars are the people willing the cars. They and their stories should be told. And we take the time to go get a word or two from those that are in those cars competing for those Wallies or whatever trophy at whatever track they might be at. When it comes to drag racing news, this installment on NHRA, not NHRA, but on the Between the Slicks show here with Drag News, it's been a tough period for drag racing. John's incident, Lizzie Musey passing away, and also do want to bring up a photo and just say our condolences to William Janky Bill and his family. He lost his life in an incident at Lebanon Valley Dragway in New York at a NHRA Division 1 race. And from all reports, just a terrible incident. And again, showcases just how tough and how dangerous this sport can be. As tough as it has been, there is good news out of the John Force Racing camp, and this information was sent to me, by the way, and it is posted on the Monday Morning Racer Facebook page and also the YouTube community page. You can read the full release from John Force Racing. In short, it is this, that he has been released from the hospital and that he is going into a rehab center. A lot for John in the future to continue to improve on, but I am so glad that we keep getting these positive reports that John is improving. I do want to take a few moments and say, with many voices with this incident, you have many stating many things on what could and should be done. I'm not sure what all should be done, not sure what all could be done. I will say this, though. If there's anyone out there in the sport that can make the impact, it's John Force. And I am sure John Force has already been having conversations on how to improve the sport. So as John improves, you know what I think will also happen? I think the sport will improve. We saw that happen with Eric Medlin's incident. We saw it happen with his incident at Dallas. I was speaking with Murph McKinney, the owner of McKinney Corp, my boss, and he mentioned to me that it wasn't long after John's incident in Dallas many years ago that he is rolled into a meeting room, and he's already talking about how can we improve these cars, and hardly any strength and any capability to talk, but he's like, Murph, we got to make these cars better. So I'm sure that from this incident, you're going to see funny cars become that much better, if not even beyond funny cars. And I'm sure they're already thinking on how to improve the matter and the situation. So if it happened to anybody, maybe, just maybe, the silver lining, it happened to John, and John will make a difference. I'm sure of it. Sure glad that we're getting the positive reports that we are. This weekend, as in Brownsburg that Krista mentioned, you can experience some time in Brownsburg oriented around drag racing, and with her there, and support her run to get to the big go. There are a lot of events happening this weekend around drag racing. This weekend, it's my plan to be down at RCD, that's Rocket City Dragway, July 12th, 13th. They've got Outlaw Pro Mods and Nitrous Pro Mods. So they've got the Southern Outlaw Pro Mods. They are going to be there. And then the Southern Nitrous Racing Association They're going to be there. Jet Cars, Will Stander, they're having their weekend night of thunder and fire there at Rocket City Dragway. Rocket City Dragway is doing some good things to bring the old Huntsville Dragway back to life. David Sharp's doing a good job there, moving it forward. So if you're in that area, central southern Tennessee, northern Alabama, or it's not that far of a drive in your opinion, get to Rocket City Dragway Friday night, Saturday, to experience their night of thunder and fire. We're not done, though. Lancaster Motorplex, Lancaster Dragway. It's actually where I got my start doing all of this drag racing, filming, and interviewing. Just outside of Buffalo. It is east of Buffalo, New York. They're going to have Nitro Night, July 12th. And they're going to have the Payton Group in. Todd Payton and Spencer Hyde, from what I have seen, are going to be lighting up the night at that little 8th-mile track. It is absolutely insane to see two modern-day top-fuel dragsters going down Broadway of Lancaster Motorplex. So if you were in that neck of the woods, you can experience some nitro and a good night of drag racing just east of Buffalo, New York. We're not done, though, this weekend. VMP, Virginia Motorsports Park, they have the PDRA Pro Stars action under the banner of the PBR Night of Fire happening this weekend as well. So you'll get to see the stars of Pro Boost and Pro Nitrous and PDRA competition. There's a big 64-car shootout in the bracket series, and also Scott Palmer, along with Alex Laughlin, will be doing some match racing as well, and you can expect much more a part of the show also there at Virginia Motorsports Park. I know for me, I loved going to Atlanta Dragway and enjoying Night Under Fire at Atlanta Dragway. I can remember the Jet Cars and the Pro Mods there. Actually did some racing at one Night of Fire in the junior dragster ranks. That was cool to be a part of it. But what great shows they were. Go support your local track. Almost every local track, no matter how big or how small, they've got some type of Night of Fire event. And look, I know the top one certainly has to be, though I haven't experienced, there at Summit Motorsports Park, America's Racetrack, the house that Bader built there in Norwalk, Ohio. I get it. I need to experience it. We all should as drag racing fans. Nonetheless, wherever your local track is, go and enjoy their Night of Fire. Even if it's at your only time you visit, which it shouldn't be. But nonetheless, if it is, don't just go to NHRA Mission Foods Drag Racing. Don't just go to PDRA Drag Racing. Go to your local track and experience some good drag racing. David Wazowski, he chimes in, says the Rock and Race at Dragway 42. Is that this weekend, David? And if so, that's cool. Catch that one. Again, I haven't shared all of them. There are so many. It's that time of the year where these Night of Fires are popping off. And it is cool that we have all of these going on. The 409 Nationals, Dixon with his two-seater. That's going to be a great time. Martin, Michigan, they're going to have their Northern Nationals before long. That's another kind of summer program in and of itself. You got the World Series of Drag Racing coming up, and before long, we'll all be looking to the Big Go, the U.S. Nationals. And that weekend, I'll be down there in Mocan for the Funny Car Chaos Championship Finals happening Labor Day weekend at that great facility. Drag racing is alive and well. It's that simple. It's alive and well with people like Krista Baldwin owning and driving. It's alive and well with great news such as John Force moving forward. It's alive and well when you got the community outpouring over the loss of someone like Bill Janke and stepping up and assisting and moving matters forward. It's alive and well with programs such as all the Night of Fires happening. Bobby Bennett, yes, sir. What's up? What's going up? What's going on? It's good with me, man. Just got in, survived Atlanta, ready to go see Mom and do some hanging out time at home. I'm looking forward to it. Folks, good to have this in-studio session. Good to have Krista Baldwin on, catch up with her. Be sure to be tuned in to the Monday Morning Racer platform and also Competition Plus. You can see the Competition Plus Power Hour back live next Tuesday. We'll be back there, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. And between the slicks, well, we'll notify you. We're going to be getting them out and talking to whoever in the world of drag racing, from those that hold the wheel, behind the scenes, and more. Thank you for tuning in. Hit the like button, hit the share button. God bless. And folks, keep the pedal to the metal.
If you own a beautiful modern muscle car like this 1320 Challenger, I'm sure you don't want it stolen. Because the Challenger and many other modern vehicles have an easily accessible neutral release strap. That was your coin holder in your central console, and beneath that there's this red cord that someone can pop, put it into neutral, and potentially easily steal your car. But at Destroyer1320.com, they have the TDS, Theft Deterrent System, which is a cover over that strap using factory mounting points so that you don't get popped by a thief. So make sure to go to Destroyer1320.com using promo code MMR for 15% off and get your Theft Deterrent System TDS and steal the thieves' hope.